Listen, I am not intimidated by many things. Actually, social anxiety fears me. But when I see a test paper and it clearly says choice D is none of the above and choice E is all of the above, white flag, I resign. It's over. Hi guys, welcome to an all-new episode of TeenTalk. Today, I wanted to recap my own final/AP season and talk about how test taking is not for the faint of heart and how teenagers are actually warriors for doing standardized testing and AP testing, IB testing, so many testing. So, like I said, I had AP testing this week, which is basically like finals for me. But low-key, I slacked off. I slacked off big. The most commitment I put towards my testing was buying the prep book from Princeton Review. Yeah, I only had two tests. I had AP Stats and AP Literature. I can't even remember the name of the test. So for AP Stats, I got the prep book because my teacher didn't feel like teaching. I love him so much. He did the best he could, but senioritis hit me a little bit too much and I wasn't completely ready. And then for my AP Lit class, that's a different story. Yeah, but I wasn't ready for that either. So my AP Stats, I got the prep book and I was like, I'm gonna study so hard, study day and night for this test. I opened the book maybe 4 times. Actually, I opened it a lot. I just didn't actually read the words on the page. You know what I mean? I read it the day before the test and then the morning of the test. This year I slacked off, but last year I took cinco. I took 5 AP tests. That's almost 5 3-hour tests. That's 15 hours of straight test taking. Guess what that does to your mind? It makes you feel like you're incompetent because every multiple choice question is basically teasing you. Oh, you think you're so smart, huh? Try solving me. Oh, you think you got it, huh? Nah, I'm tripping. It's impossible to get through 15 hours of testing while still being sane. A lot of energy drinks, a lot of caffeine, a lot of tears. I had taken the SATs twice before, so I knew what standardized testing felt like, where you basically are scared for your life, shivering because the room is so cold. And you walk into this massive room with chairs and desks and pens and pencils, number 2 pencils. And then you have a proctor who, bless their souls, they are sometimes the sweetest people you'll ever meet, but all the instructions are just so long and boring and monotonous that even they get tired. They're telling you the simplest stuff. They start off with, okay, turn the page around. After you look at the page, read the instructions. Then after you read the instructions, sign your name. It's literally on the piece of paper. If you're taking that test, I think you should know how to read, so you should be able to do that on your own. But still, they read it out loud for you so there is no confusion. And then there is the threats. All of the, if I catch you cheating, then you'll be prevented from taking future tests and your test score might be canceled. Babe. When they say that, I'm genuinely even too scared to look at my own paper because I'm like, oh, what if they think I'm looking too hard? What if they think I'm cheating? I cannot be caught cheating. That goes on the record. And I think with my eyes looking up, you know what I mean? When I'm thinking, my eyes genuinely just wander up. It's like a cartoon character. When they think, they go, huh, I do the same exact thing. And it's just it's natural, but I'm not trying to cheat. But if a proctor was looking at me, they'd probably be like, are there answers up there or what? My junior year before my AP chemistry exam, I was scared. That was the first exam of the cycle, and I could not fail on that exam because that would mean bad things for the upcoming exams. I'd studied for a good 3 consecutive months prior, unlike this year, but I was ready, just not mentally. So when I walked into the exam, I was still shivering, breathing hard, trying to keep it together for one test. And the fire alarm went off that test. Yep. In the middle of taking my test, we hear the beep. You got to be kidding me. That was the worst omen ever. You know when you flip over a test and you're like, huh? Am I in the right class? That was me during the AP macro exam. It felt like a puzzle that I couldn't solve, and my brain wasn't working. I didn't know what was happening. I almost felt like crying. And the multiple choice section really doesn't calm a student's anxiety, does it? Because there's always an option D and an option E. And option D is none of the above. And option E is all of the above. So you're like, huh? Just make your mind. A, B, C, D, 4 different option choices. Please, thank you. It was just one of those tests where everyone in the room seemed to know exactly what they were doing. They were writing essays, turning pages, writing more, scratching, erasing. And I was stuck with a blank page, trying to understand what the question was asking because I couldn't comprehend the words. Test writers aren't expecting you to know every single question on your big, massive test. They know you're not going to know all of it. Honestly, what these big tests are testing you for, it's not even testing you for the material. It's testing to see if you can succumb to the environment, if you can survive the high-pressure stakes situation. So like, imagine I'm big, strong Chad taking my AP biology exam, ready to ace every single question because I know I'm just too good. Chad walks into the test expecting to ace it because he gets every question right all the time. And then he looks at the test and then he realizes, oh, I don't know question 1. What's Chad gonna do? Is he gonna focus on question 1? Or is he gonna be smart, move on to question 2, and come back to question 1 when he has time? People like Chad are usually going to get stuck on question 1 because that's just who they are. But if you're a smart test taker, it's not going to hold you back. The best test taking advice I've ever gotten from a teacher is my 9th grade math teacher who said, it really doesn't matter. She's the short lady who gave me the biggest words to ever exist. It really doesn't matter. If you don't know a question, it doesn't matter, you have 55 more. For the FRQ section of a test, the free response section. 3 terrifying words. But you know what they actually mean? They mean partial credit. You can get credit for everything that you put on that paper. If it's right or wrong, if it's leading to the right answer, partial credit. If it's the right answer, full credit. What that means is you cannot afford to leave any part of the question blank. Every section needs to be filled with some form of writing. On my math final 2 years ago, I had 1 minute left and a whole question to do. So you know what I did? I looked at the test and I was like, if I was the test writer, what would the answer be? And I was like, 0.01 sounds correct. So I put down 0.010 sig figs and I was like, that's the right answer. And I just wrote down formulas to how I got the answer. And guess what? I got 2 partial points on that question. 2 out of 5. That's almost halfway there. All in all, before you step into your final exams, your AP tests in these upcoming weeks, remember the fine words of Samika. Test taking is not normal. The fact that teenagers have to be put in a stuffy environment with other teenagers around them all stressing out because their future depends on a piece of paper that they're gonna write on and hopefully get the right answers on is crazy. It's mentally taxing. So the quicker you can get over the fact that this environment is not normal, that it is gonna be scary, it is never gonna change, the easier the test will actually be. Because then you'll realize that at the end of the day, they're just questions on the piece of paper. Hope this episode helped, and let me know how you liked it. Let me know what you want to see next week, and see you again next week on Teen Talk. Good luck on your AP and final tests.